Good morning, traders and investors. Are you guys ready to get into another week right here on live trading? I'm excited to get into some stock action. Ready to go ahead and try to make some money. We're getting a little bit of a bounce up today. Question is, will it hold into the open? Tell me what you guys think by throwing up a 1 if you guys think we'll have a bullish day in the chat. Throw up a 2 if you think we'll have a red day, even though we're green right now. I'd like to hear your question. And of course, let me know what you guys think in the chat. Let's jump into it. Live trading with Benzinga.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Those words have been dancing around my head all night. It's Vegas lore, that phrase.
All right, traders, let's go ahead. Let's get it started. Let me see how my boy's doing. Let's see how he's doing. We back yet?
Can you hear me?
We were back, baby. We
are
got you,
back?
my friend.
All right. I don't know what happened there. I just had to restart for you to get my microphone, but we're back. We're ready to go.
Shake it off. Shake it off. Let's go. It's Monday. Get the crumbs off the table. Let's go. Let's get it ready. It's time to make some money. Only way you can make some money, like always, is coming towards our process. So let's just get right back to it. Let's try to get into some good risk-reward situations. And of course, we'll have to be an alarm clock for Zunaid because he's still on the pillow, but we'll get him here in a little bit, guys.
I think Zunaid's off this week.
He's off this whole week?
I think isn't that what he said last week? I think he said he was taking this week off.
What the hell?
Anyway,
He's not
we got
allowed
it.
to take the whole week off? What the?
We got it, Mitch. Don't worry.
Who gave Zunaid the whole week off? Who approved that? Did you guys approve that, chat? I didn't approve that. All right. Well, either way, as I can see, Zunaid's probably still head on the pillow. So we got you guys. We're ready to get into the market. Let's take a look at what's going on in the market out there. I was talking about an FSLR setup before I came to it here on pre-market prep. So just kind of give you guys the outlook also. Take a look at this nice 3 pattern. You guys know I love to talk about this. The rule of 3. We have the 3 resistance. We have the 3 supports. Will it hold this 129.50 area? Maybe you're going down a little bit closer towards 129.23s. But it should hold that support and come back through the resistance. We're going to look for a breakout above the 136.50 area. If we could get that on First Solar, you could probably see ENPH also have a nice day. You can look at SEDG to get a little bit of a bounce back. Maybe SunPower gets a little bit of some lift. So keep your eyes on some solar names, especially if we're going to have a green day today. SPY is getting back into the green, at least from the overnight action. You can see this kind of curling on up. This is a little bit worrisome for me because I feel that we've gone already too high, too fast. And so that could leave more room for a move right back into the range, into the 358s and 357s. We'll see what happens there. But I'll go ahead and I'll get you guys on over to my man Ryan, as he's probably gotten some more micro catalysts to look for. What time frame do you use on the rule of 3? It actually shows up on all time frames. That's what I've learned about the rule of 3. And why does the rule of 3 work? Well, a lot of it comes into a couple of things. If you take a look at it, what you're really running into is kind of you're looking at Elliott wave theory. And so that's how I actually came up with the rule of 3 without even knowing Elliott wave theory. And then eventually when I went deeper diving into Elliott wave theory, I understood that that's why I see the rule of 3. So if you want to understand a little bit more about the rule of 3, Neil, I would suggest you look deeper into Elliott wave theory, and that's going to go ahead and teach you a little bit more about how we usually see these up and down moves of resistance to support before we get those eventual breakouts or breakdowns of the patterns. It doesn't always guarantee it's going up. But one thing it is, if you're looking at the trend going in an upward direction, the pattern shows an upward trend, then we can go ahead and see if it does a pattern breakdown or breakout. That's what we're always looking for. All right, let's get out of my SPY charts and we can go and bring on Ryan's charts here, as he's probably gotten some more micro outlook. Today is a little bit of a harder day. And I heard out there, maybe potentially, could this be the Kim Kardashian bottom, Ryan?
What?
You didn't hear about the Kim Kardashian news?
Yeah, I
today?
heard she's being investigated by the SEC, or she settled with them, or something like that. The
Settled with
investigation
them.
is ongoing.
She got fined $1 million there. It wasn't too bad of a fine. I mean, she'll shake it off, right? She's worth close to $1 billion. She's not going to stress too much about that. But yeah,
Must be nice.
She's sweeping off more than $1 million to settle an SEC filing there on kind of payments that she received for kind of pushing a crypto asset on Instagram. So if you're out there pushing things, if you're out there pushing and trying to get people on platforms and you're making money, just tell everybody that you are. Don't be hiding behind that, because that's how you go ahead and you get Gary Gensler coming after you, or at least Kim Kardashian.
I just stay away from the whole crypto promotion thing. That's what keeps me safe. But I digress. Anyway, one of the things we wanted to talk about here, as far as the SPY goes, just to kind of pick up where Mitch left off, one of the things that I'd be wary of today, which is some of the things that we've talked about the past several sessions, is a gap and crap or a gap and trap or whatever it is that you want to call it. We are definitely off the lows from Friday and the after-hours session when the futures opened yesterday. We're pushing up towards 362. Remember, that 360 spot was a pretty big spot. We actually closed below it. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was, at minimum, a back test of that 360 level here today. I actually wouldn't be totally shocked if we continued to push up out of the gate here on some momentum, only to reverse and move back towards the lows in the latter half of the day. So that's one of the things we're going to watch. We'll watch for some put setups here, see if we end up getting them. Market really is going to need to stall after extending for us to properly position ourselves for that. But that's where we're at. We'll see if there's any more headlines about Credit Suisse coming out. That was some of the news that we got that's ECB related or Europe related. They're just wondering about the liquidity of that company. They say that the liquidity in the balance sheet is good. So we'll see how those headlines come out and how things change. But as far as the SPY goes, for trading purposes today, we want to make sure that this isn't just a rally to draw in bulls only to puke them out on the backside. So we'll take a look at that. Now, in the meantime, we definitely have some smaller caps to take a look at. And we're going to start with Sober here, which is, of course, one from last week. We had multiple trading opportunities in Sober last week. And if we take a look here at the 15-minute, you can see the formation that the stock is making. We set these, we traded around this area somewhere, I would say, between 275 and 350 for a couple of days. We first set a high of 417. That was in the extended session. And then we kind of traded around this area. It sold off, and then it pushed back to this area. This is actually the second pushback to this area. And I would say that as long as let me go ahead and mark this off. As long as we don't lose 250, I marked it as 251, but let's just call it 250. As long as we don't lose 250, Sober has some potential here to the upside. What I'd really like to see for today here is a move through 3. I think next would be 316, and after that would be 336. 417 is still a level, but I think that might be too far away, although we'll see. Some of these micro caps trade, or these small caps trade really crazy. The other one is Finger, FNGR. Now, for all of you that were here on Friday, we talked about Finger, and we talked about this being, let me see if I can get a 5-minute chart up here. All right, we talked about this right over here, right? It was the move through 235. All right, so it was buttoned up against this. There was a huge amount of sellers on the ask. They brought in a big bid that actually felt like it was a short cover, and then the stock really kind of pushed away. So this thing was an absolute monster. If you were able to trade this, this would all happened while we were off air, but we set this up before we got off for the day. If you were able to trade this, this was an absolute monster. And the craziest part is that we're getting some more action here today, right? We pulled back a little bit, took one more push up into the close, and now we've actually pushed above Friday's high here in the pre-market. Now we're flagging up here right above 4. I expect this to be volatile. I'm definitely going to wait for this to shake out before trading it today. The last thing that I need to do here is start Monday off with a very bad trade just because I got into it too early. We've got a couple of things on the list. I want it, fingers kind of new to us, at least recently. I want to have this settle in. I want to get a clear idea of direction on this particular stock. But this had a monster day on Friday. We're looking for some more fireworks today. We'll see what ends up happening. Next here is going to be XOFR. We talked a little bit about this on Friday. I was a little late to it, so I actually didn't trade this at all on Friday. I'm not in it now. I will be watching this. This is definitely going to need some more volume. We're not quite getting the volume that we really want to see here. We don't actually have it on sober either yet. But I expect that to change as soon as the market opens. X4, we might need to wait a little bit longer for. So we're going to be watching this 186 level. We're currently at 175. Wouldn't be shocked if this pulled back a little out of the open. And if it runs, might try a high day range break, but the same thing here. We're not sure of the volume, so we kind of want to use that volume as an entry trigger. The more we see it, the better it is. And if we see it and then we see it expand, giddy up. That's absolutely what we want here. Looking through the movers list here, we have LOGC. This is, I believe, a buyout for $2.07. Yep, $2.07, currently at $2.03. So there's likely not going to be a trade there. FNHC, that's a 27-cent stock. We're just going to go ahead and skip that. CSTW, looks like this is spiking here right towards the end of the pre-market. I feel like I need to do some more due diligence here. Let's see. ColorStar attends the Metaverse Assembly to promote the Metaverse smartphone. Think a little bit more research is going to need to be done there to determine how good this catalyst is or how not good this catalyst is. Suppose we could trade it off price action. This one, definitely going to wait for this to settle after the open. Next, we have WLDS. This looks like this went up as high as 170 here in the pre-market. We've leaked a lot of this back. Going to kind of hold off on this. I want to see this curl, right? If we can curl and take out this consolidation area between 131 and let's call it 120, so that 120 to 130 area, then maybe. But until then, we're going to kind of wait and hang out and see if this actually gets going. Clovis, another one on the list. So Clovis, this is actually a great one to trade here. Clovis is quite liquid. It's fairly easy to trade. So what I'd really like to see here, move through 134, then maybe these day highs or these pre-market highs at 147 can be in play. Again, a lot of stock trades in this name. We should easily be able to get in and out. Sometimes it trades a little thick. It likes to grind 1 or 2 cents higher at a time. Same thing on the downside, which just makes it a little bit easier to trade. And then last here we have PBR. So you'll notice that PBR and Vale are moving today. This is because Brazil had an election, and I guess it resulted in a runoff. So there's a chance for the incumbent to maintain his presidency. I'll be honest, I'm not totally up on Brazil politics, so I'm not sure if one wins versus the other, what that actually means for these commodities. Looks like if Bolsonaro has a chance to maintain presidency and PBR and Vale are up, I would imagine that that's what these stocks, they want that president to remain for these stocks, but we'll see. Again, one of the things that we're definitely going to watch here is how these actually trade once the market opens. Now, that's Jay Rice. So you had one in here in the chat you wanted to take a look. Oh, LOGC. Yeah, we'll take a look here. Remember, Noel, we actually just covered LOGC. I was mixing up another ticker. This was a buyout for 207 a share. So it's currently at 203. Buyouts for 207. This is the arbitrage traders in there playing with that one. So there's likely won't be a trade here. Jay Rice. MYOV, let's take a look at that here while we're waiting for Mitch to get back. MYOV, this is up considerably today. Nice little move here. Let's see, did you have a buyout in Bioland? So Myovant Sciences shares are trading higher if the company received an acquisition offer from another biopharma company to acquire for $22.75 a share in cash. Now, what's interesting here is we're actually above that. So this is an offer. So nothing's been agreed on. Of course, the board hasn't voted on it or anything like this, but we are above the proposed price. One of the reasons this happens is because traders will anticipate maybe another company coming in and bidding for that, and maybe a war where this price goes up. So just keep that in mind. We're actually above the buyout price. Looks like we actually went as high as 24.20 earlier here in the pre-market. This is one where I definitely would wait for this to settle. I would imagine this is going to be spready and tough to trade today, but good job, Jay, putting this on our radar. And of course, this is a $20 stock right here, so this could have some pretty extreme movement. That about does it here for the prepared stocks. We're definitely going to watch a lot of these here today. And of course, we want to watch the overall market, right? That's one of the big things for me. I definitely don't want to see a whole bunch of trappy behavior here today, only for us to get puked out on the backside.
I don't know what's going on with Zunaid, but oh well. Let's keep going. Let's get into the market. We'll see what's going on out there. Today is going to be one of those days where you got to wait and see at the bell, because we've gone up way too far, way too fast. And that's not good news. Why is the market up? A lot of it, I would say, is on oil. But if you think about it, Tesla is down big already, guys. So Tesla is already down about 3.8%. So we're going to need something in the SPY that's big to hold us up. Is Apple going to be that stock? Well, you're seeing Apple come back a little bit today, but will it actually even get back towards kind of the close? Well, it needs to get back above 140, I would feel like, to actually get a bottoming chart in Apple. If it takes out the lows at 136.80s, watch out. You could keep going down there. And actually, we're going to put it down there closer towards 136.50s. And so look to see if you take out that on the downside. If you do get that, you'll get some downside continuation. Microsoft not looking good here lately. Take a look at the daily chart. It is trying to come back up towards the resistance, but it's been really weak here. We're going to look to see if it creates a new line of resistance here. You can see here it was a bunch of support that had a bunch of wicks. 236.41 on the upside could run into some resistance there. And then we see it get knocked right back down. So near that 236, and I'm going to actually put it towards 236.28.30s. Somewhere in between there, we should see some resistance. We'll look to see if it gets knocked right back down. Of course, the deliveries on Tesla were off, and that's why Tesla is down today. You could see GM and Ford take a hit also on this, but we're getting a little bit of a spike up. We'll see today if we actually can get a rally or not. I think this is all going to just be kind of a push, right? But if you think about it, there's been more concerns. Look at this Credit Suisse. Credit Suisse got dropped big, and now it's bouncing back a little bit here. So that's why I think we are coming back a little bit. Take a look at this to see what happens today. If you see Credit Suisse get back up above 4, then yeah, maybe we could have a rally today. But if this starts tanking right back down towards the 370s, I would expect us to probably start coming back down. Also, this was financial concerns on Credit Suisse that knocked it down. And this is actually big. I know that a lot of people aren't really focusing on this, but this is massive because we could really have a financial crisis building up in Europe. Very similar crisis that happened here, right? Where we had to save the banks. Will the Europeans have to save their banks? That's what we need to start questioning now, because there is going to be more questions. Remember last week we got what? We got the Bank of England stepping on in. And why did they step on in? A lot of this was based on what? Pensions, right? Pensions getting caught in margin safety kind of concerns, right? Whether you're going to get the margin calls and all of a sudden get crushed. I think you're going to start worrying about certain things like this. We're starting to see things in the financial instability actually really being up to question. And I think in the long term, this is going to cause more concerns in Europe to slowly trickle over here to the U.S. because at least I don't think that we're concerned about our banks here in the U.S. But if, you know, those European banks go down, it's going to have an effect on our market, right?
Well, the other thing, Mitch, is people are wondering, you know, if Credit Suisse has trouble, is that going to kind of spread over here? Maybe not just with the banks, but is the Fed going to stop tightening maybe at all or as aggressively as they are? So I think that's one of the things that traders are going to be looking for, just to see if this kind of moves across the pond, if you will, and how that affects Fed decisions.
Yeah, and the truth is that shouldn't affect the Fed decision, at least in their standards, right? It should only be worried about what's going on here in the U.S. economy. Of course, they would go ahead and take a look at our banks. Are they in kind of concerns here, because if the Europe banks go down, it doesn't mean that our banks are going to be immediately in concern. But of course, we know how these banks love to work together, right? And they all have an effect on each other. So if one goes down, the other one usually takes a hit also. So keep your eyes to see if this kind of expands to the next level. But of course, today, I think it's more of a case of, as long as we don't get some bad news in the SPY, maybe we could hold. But then again, it's a too far move, too fast. This is why I'm more kind of in the bears tune. If we were kind of unchanged going into this, I'd feel a little bit more that we could get a little bit of a bounce back. But this move has come fast, and I don't know if it's going to be able to hold here out the gates.
You know,
you can see here it's starting to fall off the tape.
One thing to keep in mind, Mitch, when we talk about the SPY, we talk about Credit Suisse, we talk about our market and all of that. We have a bunch of Fed speakers today. All right, so I'm just taking a look here at the economics calendar in Benzinga Pro. By the way, if you don't have Benzinga Pro, I don't know what you're doing yet. Hit the trial in the link in the description below. You can try it out for 2 weeks for free. You don't even need a credit card. But anyway, we have a whole bunch of Fed members speaking today, and it's going to be interesting to see what they have to say, obviously, but then also how the market actually reacts to this with the Credit Suisse news being fresh. So that's going to be something else that we kind of want to watch here today. Looks like that starts at 11:30. Last member Bostic speaks at 6:45. So we have three, it looks like, during the actual market hours here today. But we're going to get ready. Look, ATXI was popping here right before the pre-market session finished. We got 20 seconds until the market opens here. So we're going to keep an eye on all of these different things, and we're going to try to bring you some trades. I see someone asking about Tesla. For me, with Tesla, Mitch mentioned the deliveries. Do we bounce here? Does Tesla have the strength to bring it back towards balance or red-green? That level right about 266. So we shall see here. Good luck, everyone. All right, finger here. First move out of the gate is higher. Not in this. Again, kind of waiting for some of this stuff to settle. I have some $1.1 million trade here in AMD to open this up. That's a put trade, 70 strike. Let's see. AMD pushing up here. So it looks like maybe that's a contrarian or maybe selling puts. $440 now, $443 you're high on finger. So finger keeping its momentum going from last week here. I want to take a look at Sober real quick, see what we're doing there. Sober still hanging out right around this range here. So, okay, so finger pushing higher. I'm going to wait for that to settle down here and set up. I'm not going to chase that candle, especially if it's liable to get yanked. Sober a little bit spready here. But we're holding right about this 275. Maybe now I'll move back towards 250 here. Seeing some sellers line up here on Sober. First move here out of SPY. Looks like we're up. Looks like we're trying to bounce here. Tesla's first move is down, and Apple's trying to find its footing. Europe should have never listened to a 14-year-old guide their energy policy. Jay, I think you're probably right about that. All right, CSCW here on the relative volume scanner. So it looks like volume is picking up here, trying to make a move through this 150 level. Looks like it's stopping there at 150. So 150 going to be our first spot here on CSCW. Currently hanging out right at its VWAP at 146. Let's see if it can actually push up off of that. They brought in a bid under it. So we'll see if that gets attacked here.
Oil trying to make another move up. Of course, oil is up after talks of potentially OPEC doing the 1 million barrel production cut. So you're going to see oil definitely be volatile today. That's why TEL is in play today. If you want to take a look at TEL, maybe today for a move back above 250s, going towards 3. Not a bad outlook there. If you're looking at one of those types of play, maybe INDO gets a little bit of a lift through 7. It's not a bad one to take a look at. Right now it's battling here in the 690s. Could make a move to 7. It's not a bad play right now. The only thing is a 10-cent spread that I'm seeing on INDO. So that's a little bit difficult to play there. And there's the break till 7. Boom. But the only problem with INDO is the spread. The spread there is now 10 cents. So just be careful on there. SPY coming right down, kind of what I expected here right out the open. You're getting a hard hit down here on the SPY. Tesla, hard hit down there. Apple is one that I'd be looking for maybe a short. It is holding up well right now relative to the market and Tesla. Energy, of course, leading us. Basic materials behind that. Silver doing well right now. Of course, that means the dollar is probably not doing well.
Wissing mentioning AVCT. That is halted to the upside here at 253. Was just halted. I don't see any news on it today, but we are popping up. Remember, if we take a look at this, AVCT, huge fall off on the September 29th. And looks like we traded a little bit lower on September 30th. Now we're trying to pop back. So is that just kind of a bounce back? We shall see. CSCW moving through that 150 level here, only briefly. So then the other spot here is going to be 157. So I got a VWAP still at 146. It looks like they're trying to push this higher here. Here we go through 150. Might have a little bit more juice this time if we go higher here. Just kind of watching CSCW right now. MYOV moving towards the highs. This is the solicited offer that we talked about right here at the beginning. Acquisition offer from Summitovant Biopharma. MYOV moving towards the highs here. Pre-market, we have 24.20-ish. Let's see what this candle actually says. 20.
All right, long AMD. Long AMD. That's my average there.
See if it moves right back.
6406. 6406 is the average right now. Kind of a VWAP bounce to play here. Slightly above the 64s. We got a risk towards the 63.75. See if we get a little bit of a bounce here.
Finger
Let's see a push
5.
back up to 64.55. Which one's the one you're on?
FNGR. I'm not in this. I remember right out of the open, I said that I didn't want to chase it. That was on a move towards and through 450. We're approaching 5 now. Still feels like a chase right here, though. So not in finger. Waiting for this to set up.
AMD not getting back there towards the VWAP. 64.18. We wanted to get back up above here. Let it hold the 90s here. If not, it's going to probably cut through the 70s. We don't want to be in through that. I can get out there if I need to. SPY coming down right out the gates there. Kind of what I thought. We would get a little bit of a pullback. Now I'm looking to see if we can actually get this bounce here. A bounce up would make that nice little push there drive for a little bit. And then I would maybe look for a 945 turnaround. But if we crack through here, we're probably just cracking right back down towards kind of unchanged on the day. Could have just been a bull trap in the pre-market. That's why I was trying to call it out. But right now, I'm actually playing towards the upside. So I actually want the SPY to catch a bounce here.
CSCW, they brought in a big bid here at 250. So we're currently 250 by 251. They're chopping the ask down here at 251. Big bid right under it. So we'll see if this pushes away. I might try some here. Stop at VWAP at 147 on CSCW. Would really like a push above 156 here. Going to keep this stop tight on the first trade of this Monday.
Finger motion. Nice little setup, at least.
I'll be honest, Mitch. That one's got me a little bit nervous. It feels pretty extended. We've already seen that it can rip. I'm actually going to set my stop here just in case I'm start babbling and this trade goes against me. With finger, it looks like, I mean, it's obviously already ripped. We've seen it rip, and it looks like it can keep going. But I'd be really, really wary of getting trapped in a pullback, especially on a day trade. The walking the bid up now in CSCW, that bid that was at 150 was now at 152. They're trying to take out 155 here.
There's that breakthrough 5.
On finger, there we go. Okay, man, that thing's ripping.
Yeah, that was a rip. Probably going to halt soon.
WLDS, nice shout, Shiny. That is moving up towards its VWAP. VWAP at 126. Looks like this move came right off 108. Still waiting for CSCW to take off this 156 top that we put in here this morning.
I'm looking good here. SPY just coming straight down. Kind of, you know, it's at least following what I thought it would do, is just like
CSCW new highs here. 160, there's a spot there. Let's see if they take out 160. They're on 160. Come on, take out 160 here.
I think it just halted that finger.
Yeah, that's not surprising. Huge move here. Saw a halt coming.
Not liking this AMD position. Just not holding on right now. Might get out right now.
Right back to 160 here. Come on, 160. Let's fall. I'm going to close this trade no matter what here. I'm just hoping for a pop above 160. Don't want any trades to go red on me.
Not looking good here. About to cut it. AMD.
There's 160 and through. There we go. All right, going to close CSCW. We're going to start off one for one here. Small trade, but you know what? We'll take it on this Monday morning. Here we go. WLDS pulled back here after that initial move up.
Out there. Got stopped out big in AMD. And shouldn't have been trying it, man. Had a feeling the SPY would pull back down. Why am I trading AMD to the upside? Just trying to be a bull on a day that I already kind of called it in the pre-market. SPY was too extended. It just went straight down. Should have been shorting stocks, not buying them.
Yep. Tesla is getting slammed here, guys. So that Tesla potential bounce back to balance does not appear to be happening. Goldman Sachs on lows, Twitter on lows, Apple at lows. It's a lot of lows here. Bitcoin at lows.
Stick to the short side. This market sucks.
Well, so one of the things, so Mitch, so based on viewer feedback from last week, one of the things that I was thinking coming into today, especially, but this week in general, if we do keep getting a push in this market when it makes sense for it to go back down, that might be our opportunity to short. Well, if you take a look at what happened here, we were up in the pre-market. But as soon as this market opened, what do we have? A little bit of a push there, and then it pulled back down. ATXI, by the way, trading up towards that 15 level. We went through it briefly here today. It's going to 15 now. ATXI, not in this, but watching it here. Jay, I think Wild, you were the one, or Jay Rice. I get two J's mixed up. I'm sorry about that. One of you guys was on this here on a nice pop. This is spready, probably a little too risky here for me, but interesting to watch. It looks like it's trying to move through 15. Pushing up. There it is, through 15 again. Big pop here. And we keep going. 1550. Wow, monster move there. Monster move. Basically, what I was saying about the SPY is, we might get opportunity. If it pops back up, we might get an opportunity to buy some puts here, whether it be on the SPY itself, maybe the Qs, maybe some of the semis. And like Tom is saying here, short the pops. That's kind of what the plan here for this morning was. Now, we didn't get one out of the open there. We started to pull right away. But if we set up and get another potential short opportunity here, we'll start taking a look at puts. Bourne agrees. He sees the writing on the wall. Global market is trash, and it's only getting worse.
Wouldn't you know it? AMD recovers.
Did it
The
flush
chop.
out and then recover?
Yeah, like it usually does. The chop.
So right there, that chop that Mitch is talking about, that's one we've seen that quite a bit. And one of the things that I'm doing to respond to the chop is maybe trading a little bit less, because I don't need to take a bunch of small losses and have that add up to a loss pool that I could have just avoided by being a little bit more tactical and waiting for the stocks to set up. CSCW today, that was a great setup. Could we have played finger out of the gate for more profit? Yeah, today we could have, but who knows where this is going to stop. Finger halted here, by the way, 5:30. I think we called that out, but I'm just making sure. So, I mean, I'm going to try to keep myself safe. I'm not going to be, trying to make trades dashing in front of traffic or anything like that. I want to stay as safe as possible here, especially on things that we're calling out. Finger open now, 591 on FNGR. It's going to be halted again here, it looks like. Yeah, it's still trading right now, but it's going to halt if it stays here. It's halted. Thank you, Benzinga Pro. Man, Finger, what a move out of the gate here. What a move out of the gate here. Meta trying to move up here too. Let's check in on PBR. PBR near the highs. Let's check in on Valet as well. Valet also looks like this is curling. Interesting if this makes a move through 14. Let's take a look at X4 from our list from this morning. X4 down here. We didn't get the volume that we needed. Let's check in on Sober too. See what we're doing with Sober. Sober down 6.7% here. So this is exactly it. We wanted to see this consolidation area get cleared out. Immediately sold back down to the support. We'll see if this rebounds. Going to keep it on the back burner, but not rushing to buy that right now. That's for sure. ATXI still hanging out here, still trying to make some moves here on ATXI. Mitch, pinky up there. That was a long swig of orange juice, let me tell you.
Yeah, too bad it's not mimosas.
Too bad it's not what?
Mimosas.
Mitch getting started early.
Seems like it. Seems like it. It's one of those days. Where's my champagne? That's all I can say. I'm gonna need one today. A mimosa. AMD now up to 64.50.
CSCW pulled back down towards that VWAP, trying to curl off the 150 level here.
The chop continues.
Market higher, so we might get that opportunity here. You got Finger right off the open, Wally. Nice job. Make sure you book some of those gains. Don't be holding that. Don't be getting too greedy there. Make sure you put some profit in your pocket. How much you want to put in there, that's going to be up to you, but don't let that trade go red on you. Now, remember, one more thing here. First of the month, we normally see inflows into 401ks. This is the first trading day of October. It's actually the first trading day of the fourth quarter as well. So we're liable to see those inflows here. Question is going to be how long does that last? So kind of what Tom was saying earlier, he's looking to short the pops here. So if we do get a pop overall in this market, perhaps the move here is a play short on it. Well, we'll see where this actually stalls out. SPY here at highs though.
You're getting now a little bit of a rally. The question is, will it hold? I don't want to take part in it because I already tried to take part in it, but you are getting a little bit of a rally here.
Yeah, I'm not going to take part in the rally to the upside here. My personal gut feeling is that we are not going to hold this. We might trade up here, but I still think inevitably the next move is down. Looks like Easy Mike saying PMI is out. The ISM a bit more important here. Let me see if I can grab those figures for you.
Yeah, I can grab it for you guys too.
Manufacturing PMI 52 versus a 51.8 estimate. So your PMI a beat for September. And you're saying that that's what's so manufacturing PMI slightly higher than estimate. So you're thinking the bad news is good news. 10 a.m. You're looking for the ISM. So, and that's the more important number. Gotcha, Easy Mike. We got it. We got it. Thank you for setting us up for some things to watch here. That's coming in 12 minutes, that print. 12 minutes.
There it is. AMD trying to take out new highs now. It already went to a high of 64.95. Would have been able to get $1 on that, but couldn't get through the 50-cent risk today. That's a little bit too wide of risk there for me on that volatile kind of pull down, stop me out. It was looking like a good play, but it happens sometimes. Going to look to see if SOXL can pull back to the VWAP. Then we'll see if we can get this to continue. SPY's just going kind of creating a range now, right? It created a range between 359.67 and above there towards, let's say, we're going to put it a little bit higher towards 361.84. So we're just stuck in between that range right now. We want to see if it's going to break out above or below that range. AMD would have been a nice one, but hey, got stopped out. That's how it goes.
Finger open here. That looked at like it popped as high as 620. Now pulling back here 560. So again, finger kind of all over the place. If you played it again, please make sure you book those gains. Brian is saying that PMI number is much better than you expected. So it shows expansion, not contraction. Waiting for the ISM number. You're thinking that's going to be under 50, which would represent contraction. So that's the next one here that we're going to watch. I mean, on the screen there, Mitch. Sweet. Let's roll. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, so 52 is not too bad. I mean, 50 and below is contraction, right? I mean, that's not what you want to be seeing. But 52 is not. I mean, it's not too off the estimate. So I don't think it's going to pop the market that much. But
was it Jay Wild? Or was it Jay Rice that was talking about MYOV? I think it was Jay Rice. MYOV, interesting here, even on that buyout, higher than the buyout price, the current price higher than the buyout price, excuse me. We did take out that high of 24.20 in the pre-market, currently at 24.79. So nice little move here above that level here. I opted not to trade this one as it's a buyout, but looks like this is moving higher here. So good trade if you took that one.
Good little pullback there on First Solar. It went down right into that support range into the 132s. You could have been able to nail that. I'll look to see if it pulls back to 133.50. Then I think it takes out the 135 on the upside. We'll see what happens. First Solar setting up for a nice bullish move up. And with that, I would look for maybe a laggard type of play, right? SEDG, not a bad one to take a look at. We'll see if it can get a lift up. Still playing a little Home Depot in that competition account, but that's just because I'm looking for it to kind of keep pushing up there. But I almost forgot about that. It's just too annoying to kind of focus on it with everything I got.
Fall is officially here, folks. No one is more excited than me. Fall is my favorite season, but it is wreaking havoc on my nose. I apologize for continually having to drop. I have to blow my nose what feels like every 10 minutes here.
All right, SOXL trying to take that next step up. We'll see if it does. SPY, what does it do? It pulls back a little bit, creates some more choppity chop.
CSCW still holding its gains. We'll see if it actually tries to take out that 163 on the top.
Tesla now down to 245. Man, Tesla just falling fast here. Apple, what's going on with Apple? It's still green for the day,
Tesla's
guys.
trying to bounce at least. It's trying.
Yeah, Tesla looks weak. I mean, that's definitely holding it up, but I think it's going to be on Apple. What happens with Apple today? Did we get back into some kind of deeper green going into the 140s and the 142? Or do we just use this 139.50 as resistance and then just get right back down on Apple? If it does get right back down below the VWAP, be careful. If it takes out 138.25, you could see a quick flush there in the SPY.
Cannabis names moving higher here. Looking at CGC, Tilray also up.
Cannabis.
All those charts look the same. Bitcoin looking like it's going to try to hang on to this 19K level. We'll see if it ends up hanging on today.
ATR, remember, that's a volatility indication, Gene. ATR is not going to give you direction. It's going to give you volatility increasing or decreasing. Feel it's very annoying to see the same pattern across all charts. Where's the contrarian stocks? Well, what you want to be looking for is stocks that don't have correlation with the overall market. So look for stocks that have low correlation.
And some of these junky small caps that we're finding here on the scanner are exactly that, Mitch. They're not necessarily moving. And we're getting short-term opportunities to take advantage of these. That's just one of the reasons why I'm just trying to identify anything predictable that we can take advantage of.
Yep, I agree with that outlook. Going to look to see if stocks S can hold here and then it comes back up, or what happens to it. Does it just get knocked down here and Apple pushes up towards the 140? That'd be a good outlook for Apple. Bad outlook for semiconductors overall. Well, good for semiconductors overall would be bad for stocks S, which is of course a bearish outlook. I was looking at stocks L for maybe a scalp above the 930s. But was looking for a pullback towards the 905 first. SPYs is choppy right here, guys.
ATXI hanging out right around this 15 line. That is a pretty decent resistance area going back to December of 21. We also had a pop through this area in March, and then we tried to test this area in about the mid half of March. So interesting area here for ATXI. I would expect it to kind of take a break here, but who knows? This has been kind of a monster recently.
Agree with that, Gene. You definitely are seeing it picked up, and you're also seeing it in the SPY. Overall, average true range is going up in the SPY. If you take a look at it in the SPY, it's about, what do we got here on the day? About eight points. 8 points, but it is starting to turn to the downside. Let me see how on Tesla. ATR is at 13.67, has gotten as high as before, as almost 20 points. So it doesn't mean that it can't kind of spike back up. And the spike up usually means more volatility towards the downside a lot of the times. Will we eventually get back towards the 226? Not what you wanted to see if you were a bull in Tesla. There's SOXL trying to make that move through the 930s, but what we don't want to see is a Harmy candle created there, because then you could just get the pullback on the SPY. We'll see if the SPY is able to hold that VWAP and now start really pushing. That's what it tried to do on the 5-minute. Let's see if it can actually take out the highs. A lot of that is I would take a look at maybe like an Apple. What happens on Apple? That can be a good indication there. How's the oil names doing out there? Oil coming on back down for a pullback. If you're looking for an oil pullback, now you're getting a little setup there. Gush also pulling back there. I'd take a look for maybe to touch 139 or 139.50s and come back up through 141 would be an outlook here. Oxy is pulling back fast, so just be careful there in the oil names. They are starting to break down there. Sark.
VIX hanging right out at 31 here.
Ooh, Sark VWAP bounce looks interesting to me, but I'm gonna hold off on it right now. Just want to see the SPY pick a direction here. SPY's just playing games, just going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Let's see if we can actually get a direction. Choppy McChopster.
Can't disagree with that.
It's a chop. You can get them at Pollo Tropical also, if you need one. You see, I'm telling you, I should get that sponsorship, man. I got Pollo Tropical, got the Simply Orange Juice. We need some food sponsorships, Ryan. And then we could get just like free delivery. What? Wouldn't that be a nice sponsorship?
I mean, Mitch, get to work. I mean, I could use free delivery of a breakfast sandwich right now. So get to work on that.
Exactly. Dunkin' Donuts. Where you at? You know, you get us send us a little Dunkin' Donuts in the morning and we'll show it off on stream, right? I mean, hey. I have to shout out to the Dunkin' Donuts. See if they're gonna give the BZ discount. All right.
Trey asking Ryan, can I get your setting for pre-market and day trading workspaces for Benzinga? Sure. So first of all, this one that I use in the pre-market. Oh, let me put my screen up here. This one that I use in the pre-market consists of the movers tool and the details tool. Good news for you here is there's a preset for that. It's called the What's Moving Scanner. So all you have to do is click on this and it will load this same workspace. You just have to set your detail to the chart tab. I don't run any filters here. I just scan gainers, pre-market, in session, and I take a look for the stocks that are trading over 1 million shares. So that one exists as a preset. My main workspace, very, very simple. The crux of this entire workspace is right here. It is these 4 filters. So go ahead and screenshot this if you need. I'll read them out real quick. Volume over 1 million. We got to make sure that the stocks are liquid. Relative volume, 5 minutes, 10 days, minimum of 3, and change percent over a rolling 1 minute window of 0.2. So go ahead and mark those down. The rest of this is an option activity calendar for just stocks. This is a signals tool for halts, signals tool for block trade, and a signals tool for 52-week highs and 52-week lows.
It's a tough determining the trades right now. I'm thinking maybe, all right, if we get a market reversal, will success be a good trade? Well, yeah, if we get a market reversal. But the SPY is just ticking here on the VWAP. It gets below it and then quick recovery. And then Apple showing me that up move shows me more that it wants to push towards the upside right now. Let's see what happens, though. Will we get that breakout in the SPY? It looks like it wants to do it towards the upside here. There's the little push there. Now you see what? Wicks, right? So let's see if we close above 361.84. Soxel getting a little bit of a lift there. AMD probably getting a little bit of a lift. Nvda getting a little bit of a lift. Look at Tesla. See if it starts ripping back towards the VWAP. That's what you want to be seeing here. That can help out, keep the market up, right? Microsoft, you want to see a nice little candle there. You saw a nice little pop-up. Will it be able to hold it here on the pullback towards 235.75? Let's see what happens. And will we get an actual close above that 361.84? We get little wicks. Let's see if we get a 5-minute closing above that.
And real quick, the ISM PMI did come out 50.9 for September, 50.9 versus 52.2 expected. So we did get that number under expectations, but still above 50. So factor that into your calculus here. Market looks like it is pushing a little bit higher here. Gemini woman says, you fellas need to cook at home. It's healthier. I do. In fact, 90% of my meals are cooked at home. That's why when Mitch said sponsorship and free delivery, I got all excited because I'm used to eating home cooked food.
Yeah, it would be interesting. Just gets a little extra, right? Why not?
I had my breakfast smoothie today. I had a lot of sleep last night. I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling great.
Yeah, it was finally a good bounce back in fantasy, at least for myself and my other team. I'm not doing too bad in the league I'm in with Ryan, but finally Jefferson bouncing back there after a tough 2 weeks. SPY trying to close above that 361.84. We got about, 3 minutes on this one? Yeah, 3 minutes still. It's battling, though. You can see it goes up, above it, low it, below, up, up, up. Well, we're going to see what happens here. It's playing games. And
So
at
the
least
two stocks that were really ripping here this morning, Finger and ATXI, looks like that initial momentum has stopped now. So one of the things that you'll be able to watch for the rest of the day here is, does that momentum pick back up and take out any of those key levels that we have identified? So Finger looks like it's drifting back down here, currently at about 525. We did have a high of 620, so a full point beneath our high. And let me bring up ATXI here real quick. ATXI, we really kind of pulled away from that 15 level. Just don't have enough juice to move through it here. 1320. Remember, we have an intraday low here of right about 13, just under 13. So if we lose that, could be some cut through this air here, if you will. Trade down maybe towards an 11 handle. SPY at highs here. Market at highs.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a push there. Was trying to maybe get Tesla on the pullback here. Apple's still at the top of the range, but looking for something that might play catch up. That'd be probably Tesla after it got hit. But it just pushed way too fast there for me. It pushed about 50 cents there and was not going to take it after it pushed that 50 cents. So I was looking for the 247 entry, went to 248 really quickly there. Now we're getting back towards the old hourly range that we were in on last week, which was 363 overall. I mean, the SPY is up from kind of the close of Friday. It's up about 1.62%. So not a bad bounce back today for the SPY. How much juice does this rally have? Let's find out.
And real quickly, just kind of looking at some of the stocks that we flagged this morning. Sober, one of the ones that we talked about here. Sober doing a really good job curling. It really sold off right out of the open here, but it did find its spot and it started to curl now. 257 was where it was stopping. In fact, if I zoom in here, you can see exactly why I drew this line. We pushed up to 257 on this candle right here at 946 and we stopped. Came back in, pushed up to that on 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive 1-minute candles. We were unable to take that level out. And then the sixth times the charm, we moved through it. Now we're back up towards the VWAP here, taking a little bit of a break. I wouldn't be shocked if we crossed back through this 265 level on our way back towards 280 on Sober.
I topped out a little bit there and now starting to pull back a little bit. Now I think this is the important leg. Do we get that just buying to come on in here and just keep ripping? Or is there a pullback? All right. Should be hurricane plays with infrastructure. Not a bad look. All right, Sydney talking about EMPH, not a bad area to kind of watch. Solar names, we talked about them in the morning. Would they have a good day today? EMPH bouncing back. FSLR, I gave you guys that outlook there. FSLR coming back to VWAP, then finding a little bounce at 133.50s. Back up there towards 134.75. We'll see if it gets through the 135 area. Does the SPY get into the 363 range and then really start pushing? Or will it use this as a resistance and just start coming back? All right, looking around. There's the 363 on the SPY, and it slows down a little bit there. Let's see if we actually get the expansion through. It is pushing now, starting to turn around there a little bit. It's just a battle here, and this is how it feels like every time we go up. It's a little bit of a battle, expansion, and you just don't know when it's going to turn. So it's just hard to call here. But like if you're playing the little up move right now, it's not looking bad. You just want to see the SPY continue on its tune. We'll see. It's just tough. It's tough to call along here, right? Because you get back towards prior resistance, and we know how there's some overhead selling. So it's just tough times right now in the market. Even when you are getting these pushes on up, it's hard to stay in the trade and not just take quick profits.
Steve asking about PSNY. That's, of course, Polestar. I'll be honest, for right now, Polestar for me, more of just a trading vehicle than an actual investment. Chart is not great. Really kind of looks rough on the daily, but we've actually had this appear on scanners several times. So for me, PSNY, Polestar Automotive, that's just a day trader stock right now. Maybe that changes in the future, but for right now, that's the only angle I have on it.
Oh, the stock sell scout wouldn't have been bad. It would have been getting in somewhere between the 930s and the 925s and looking for a push up there. It went through the 940s up there towards even 950. So it wasn't a bad scalp outlook. Wasn't able to get the trade. And we'll see what happens. It's just one of those trades where I got caught early on trying to get AMD at 64. And look where it's at now, 64.55. It would have been a great trade. I got caught. Wasn't able to get through the opening the volatility there. And now it's in the bullish sense. And now it's just kind of hard to buy, right? I mean, I would need some pullback action. And it just seems like we're just pushing through highs unless you're trying to break out and play that breakout high trade. It's just hard to take a trade now. And I'm kind of more in a wait and see now as we're seeing basic materials continuing the lead on the day. Silver doing well, copper, aluminum, steel getting a nice little push. Coal continuing. BTU up now towards 26.17. Did pull back here towards the VWAP. We'll see if it takes that VWAP bounce type of trade. BTU has been a really good trade last couple of days. AMR, CEIX, not looking too bad. Gold, industrial metals. So if you look at like a lithium trade, LAC today, LPHM, not looking too bad. PLL, trying to take that next step up. So lithium trades not looking bad today. I am seeing some companies come in here with some upgrades on some utility names. So that's interesting to see as we're seeing CEG get an upgrade here from Credit Suisse. Wouldn't you expect it? They're putting out a bunch of ratings today, trying to show up on the tape.
Read the room, bro. Read the room. Might not be the day for that. Might not be the day for that. Real quick, Sober moving through that 279 level, holding 280. So pretty interesting here. Remember, we have a pre-market high of 296 on Sober and our market pushing to highs here. I'd throw this out to the group. For those of you in the group that think, you know what, we do have some more downside to go, market looks to roll over here, give me your levels on SPY or the S&P where you're looking to actually reshort these pops. Tom, if you have any levels out there, would love to hear them. Same with both J's, Jay Rice, Jay Wild. If you guys have, really anyone, if any of you have levels where you're looking to short this move, this intraday move here, would love to hear them. Let's discuss, as they say.
All right, looking around, Tesla still seems the only dragging of the leadership that's down. Everything else is in the green. That's definitely helping out, right? I mean, you got Google up 2% now. So we'll see if Google can get through. It's just been on a nice linear path. Will it come pulling back down?
Vishnav saying 367. That looks like his reversal point here for SPY. Just for some context, we're currently at 363.20 here on the SPY. So you're looking for a little bit more of a run. 370 from Jay Wild, but I don't think we'll get there. Thank you for adding that in there. Blue Ice thinking the same thing, 370. Aaron thinking this pullback is coming. We're only at 363 here. That to be fair though, that push up here, it does seem like it's stalling right here, Aaron. So maybe we do roll over here. We got the VIX being blasted back down, 30.24 current VIX. And Bitcoin looks like it was, we were talking, last time I mentioned it here, we were trying to defend 19,000 as we were making a move down towards 19,000, pushed back up here to 19,250 before taking a break. We have a kind of a near-term double top there right about at 19,250. So we'll see if that can get taken out as well. 365, Jared, Daddy Backstrap. Okay, 365 as well. Hard Sessions, 365. All right.
Looking at this success for mean reversion trade back to VWAP, that's a move back to 67. So that seems to make sense for me. We just need to see a closing of a turnaround or turnaround look here on the SPY. SPY is fighting the 363.35 range right now. And between 363.16 and 35, if it closes towards 363.76 on the 5-minute, I won't go for it. But if it can just give me that little sign that it wants to get back below 363, I can take the SOX S trade back to VWAP. It's going to be one of those trades that I got to be really quick on making my decision, because when it flips, it's going to be a quick flip. The question is, do I wait for the close or do I wait for the wicks? The wicks sometimes it tricks. It's a tough market right now.
Sober now stopping at 284. So we pushed up to that 284 level. This is looking similar to what we identified at 257, but careful, we are extended here. That 284 push, we have 3 candles that pushed us to that 284. Maybe the 4th time's the charm here on Sober.
Yeah, we need some tunes. I'll get it going here. Liking this battle here. Liking that turnaround I see a little bit on Apple. Just haven't seen the 363s really break. And so that's a tough one, right? So we got about what? 2 minutes? 2 minutes on that 5-minute candle there for the SPY that you guys are seeing look like a Harmy there. I'm just trying to see if it's going to show me kind of more of that Harmy top outlook, or maybe even gives me a little bit of a spike, but the body closes still here. That's going to be a good outlook for turnaround there. Let's see what happens.
All right, Jay, fair enough there. Putting out SPY targets is not for me. I'd rather trade the price in specific groups. Fair enough. Didn't mean to put anyone on the spot. Just wanted to kind of have a discussion about some of those levels to look at. By the way, Aaron, you were saying that you just watched the moving averages. So not necessarily putting out targets, but I would say that using moving averages as support and resistance would also be trading the price action. Sounds very similar there. Didn't mean to put anybody on the spot. We're casual here at the live trading. But we do appreciate you all joining us and hanging out and smashing that like button. That's always appreciated.
All right, let's see what these tunes are.
I will go ahead.
Let me set myself in the back.
All right. All right. WLDS. Becca's got eyes on WLDS. That is curling back up here. Nice first move here through the VWAP. Looking at this, say this was the 132 is going to be our first spot there. And let's take a look at 151. And what do we have as that high there? 168. So maybe on a move through 132 here on WLDS. Nice to see this volume expand. I'd like to keep seeing that for this to be in play here. Let's take a look at ATXI. That's still kind of in free fall. Or slow grind down maybe. ADTX, maybe this is going to take out the high that we've just put in. Let me mark this off in case we get back here. 397, so we'll move towards 4 here, ADTX. Let me take a look at the level 2 and see if we can figure out anything else on here while Mitch finds music. This one's spread about 5 cents here. It'll be interesting to see if we can push through this. 397 I have as the high print, very little volume traded at that level. But I would expect if we push back up there or take that level out, $4 probably on deck here. Matt calling out VSAT. VSAT at highs here. This thing really moving. No angle on it in terms of entry here from today. Viasat to sell its Link 16 tactical data links business to L3 Harris Technologies for $1.96 billion.
Like that.
So it looks like that's going to be your catalyst for the move higher here. Looks like we had a couple of halts here today. VSAT really, really strong today. Move from low 30s up to the 44 here today. Just a monster move on this daily. Next spot here on VSAT looks to be about a 50 handle. So only 6 points away from that. I wasn't in VSAT. I wasn't watching that one. Finger moving back down here towards 5. Really looks like it's going to kind of slow down and consolidate right above this VWAP. Might see an afternoon push on that. That'd be worth watching. CSTW, which we traded early on here, really kind of falling off. This is why you take your gains, folks. This is why we take them when we have them. We can try to find a setup, but that setup, especially for day trading, short time frame, That's why you can't be afraid to take them. Sometimes they run after it. Sometimes they break down. Don't be afraid to take your gains, folks.
That is true. That is true. Now the SPY trying to make its way back up towards the 363.35. It's battling here at 363.30s. Will it come back through the 363 or above the 363.35? Taking a look to see what happens here as we got that indecision candle. Now what happens here? Do we get another leg or a breakdown?
It looks like it's doing a good job holding this level here, Mitch. Real quickly, one of the things that I'm seeing here, beat. All right, this is ticker beat. We've traded this quite a bit here. Great to see this stock moving again, moving up towards 450. That 450 spot is going to be one to watch. Let's bring it up here. We are getting that expanding volume. If these sticks continue to get bigger, especially as we move through 450, potential trade above here. Looking at about a 5-6 cent spread. So I'd like to see that tighten up in a perfect world, but we might not get that. 450 stopping it. Not in this, by the way. Not in this.
All right. Let's start seeing, thinking about doing this success. Yeah, let's start a position here.
What are you buying?
Success.
Okay.
Trying to get into success.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're this is a fact.
There we go.
Where you're shorting, right? Because we talked
Exactly.
about the market pushing up.
Exactly
and looking
that.
for shorts. Here we go. Okay.
All right, 64.58 entry there. Now the risk is off 64. Don't want to see it get right back above 363.35. If the SPY does that, we got to be careful because we should see a crackdown. Also, I want to see Apple not get through the high, right? If it gets back through the 140.25s, we could just get squeezed out of the position here.
And ATXI, the spot that I'm really watching there is going to be 1550. So we're going to watch Mitch's trade here on SOXS.
Ooh, it's not looking good. Let's see. See how Apple gets right there to the resistance. It's right in between that that pattern here on the left for the SPY. You don't want to see an actual close above this trigger line because then all of a sudden you get the spike there. In the Apple, you get the spike down there. Now I might get cut out here in the next seconds. It recovered a little bit. I just need to see Apple get right back below 140.25s and the SPY to immediately come back towards 363.35. If not, it's going to test towards the top side and it's going to test that out right now for me. And right there, you see it recover 64.05. There's the 64.05 back to 64.20s. Below 64 close, I'm just going to get out. It's a good outlook if it can really crack now and go into a red candle on the SPY. If not, it's going to just maybe just stair step up today. Could be very much a move that happens. And if I do get stopped out on this one today, I'm probably just going to call it a day, guys. Doesn't seem like I'm in the zone today. I didn't feel it before the open there either. Just feeling like the market's just chopping and chop. It's hard to determine a direction right now. Longer term, I'm still bearish, so it's kind of harder to play these up moves. There's a little bit of a going into the red. That's a good outlook here. We could add here, but I will add back through my entry. So if we can make a move back towards, let's say 65, going back through the entry, then I can look for it. But you don't want to be adding when you can think that you can get stopped out. At least that's what I try not to. Might have to just close my eyes on this trade.
Beat, by the way, real quick, let me just throw this up. I'll go back to the screen here, Mitch.
No, you're
Beat,
good, man.
Did take out that 450 area. Is what we talked about, right? The same pattern. When a stock intraday is going to butt up against one of those levels, in particular, when there's a wall of sellers there, when it takes that down, it normally keeps pushing. And look, we went right to that 472 level. So we had a 22-cent trade plan here. If we took out 450, we did. And within 3 minutes, we went to that level. We're actually pushing above here. So trim and trail here on Beat if you took it. This one has paid us a number of times. Beat has been a trader the past several weeks here on this show alone. Great stuff there.
All right.
Beat
More than likely gonna
585
get stopped
high,
out.
588 high print. Sorry, Mitch.
No, you're good. I'm about to get stopped
crazy.
out anyways. Hands on the trigger to get out. Bid tightening up here. It's tight right at the 64 mark. That's my out. So I'm just having my hand on the trigger here.
The S&P futures pushing up into one of its resistance pivots right here. We're actually above that on the SPY, but the futures drive the bus. So futures, we're pushing up into resistance. Might get a little stall here, which might help that SOXS trade. That's to the long side, right? I got that right?
Yeah. Out. And that one's gonna hurt.
So let's talk about this. So this is one of the dangers when we're trying to short intraday levels, right? When it pushes up into that resistance zone, sometimes it'll hang out there, and instead of breaking down right away, it actually push through and clear out people that are trying to short at a specific level. Mitch was very, very tactical about that. So I'm assuming that that level is pretty strong and pretty visible. The key here is going to be, does this continue to break back down, right? Because what might happen is that this might just extend a little bit and then reverse. And that would also be something to watch. In the meantime, Mitch is flat on his trade, not going to take any more pain as SOXS continues to find the level.
Yeah, it wasn't a good day for me today. Had a feeling about the early pullback, got stopped out on the upside, got stopped out on the downside. And that just shows me that not in the zone today, so not going to push it, go towards the third trade. Just going to go ahead and call it a day on my trading. I don't mind taking a look at stocks that you guys want to check out. But in this market and the way that it's trading, it's just hard right now. And now you're seeing an actual expansion up, and it just showed us. It never even wanted to come back to VWAP. So the weakness was really never there. Was shorting more on an overall outlook in the market, and that's when you can get yourself into trouble. At least for right now, a lot of the intraday action is uncertainty. And then the overnight and swing trading and kind of investing is still pointing to the downside. So it's going to be hard to trade in this environment. And with that being said, we need to kind of stick to more of some kind of micro outlook. If not, we're just looking at the SPY. And for that reason, maybe it's just better off to just trade the SPY than be trading these kind of micro names, these bigger cap names, and just move with the market anyways. Today was a tougher one with Tesla being down so big and the overall market kind of getting a little bit of a bounce back. Not what we're used to seeing. If we're seeing Tesla drag so much, but Apple holding up the market today, definitely. And that's making a difference.
And Mitch, this is why you put stops on there, right? If you take a look at that SOXS chart, as soon as you stopped out, it sunk more. And the last thing that you want to do is hang on to that. Jay Rice, one of the things he said here, after Friday's action, everyone on Twitter was looking for a crash today and they didn't get it. I can confirm. I was watching Twitter on Friday, even into the evening, long after the after-hour session had closed. There were a lot of people worried about the Credit Suisse issue. I saw yesterday while I was watching football, on Twitter, there were a bunch of people counting down the time until the futures opened because they thought today was going to be a bloodbath. And you're right, Jay, we didn't get that, right? So we got the contrarian move here. Everyone felt like it was going to be a bloody Monday. So far, we're still pushing to highs here. Jay Rice also saying, Mitch, your day trading stops are too small, Mitch. Take less size and widen them. That's actually one of the things that I was doing last week. Remember, on a number of different trades, I told you I had reduced my size. That allowed me to spread out my stop. I still took a couple of losses, but because they were reduced size, they really weren't all that painful. And as far as today goes with this move here, I've taken one trade. Now I was successful today, but I haven't felt good about some of the others. I really didn't want to chase finger, although that would have proved to be probably the right move today. I want to be as tactical as I can. I want to practice good discipline instead of doing undisciplined trading, even when it works. Beat, by the way, back tested this 472 level. Now it looks to push higher here. Be interesting to see if Beat can get over its high 488 I have as the high.
Yeah, this is just one of those days, man. And don't worry, my size wasn't that big on these trades, and I haven't been sizing up big in this market overall. It's been always small this year. And the way that I feel is sizing should depend a lot also on the year that you're in. And so like last year, I was definitely sizing bigger than I am this year. And so we'll see if we get a better 2023 and we can actually start going back into bigger sizing, trying to make an expansion up on the account. But at least September was good to me. So at least I know that a lot of people had really tough Septembers, so it wasn't bad for me. A lot of that was I took probably about half of it, if not more than half of it off. So that definitely helped. Not trading the whole September, taking 2 weeks off, actually like 2.5 weeks off in September helped me stay into the green. But it's tough.
It is tough. And Mitch, to your point, I had a rough September. I'm not afraid to admit it. I had a rough September. Took a lot of losses in September. And I've always said, when things aren't working, reset, man. Whether it's taking some time off, simply not watching the market every day. Some people are successful not opening their broker in some certain instances. I don't think that there's a one-size-fits-all remedy for everyone, but don't be afraid to, if it's not working for you, don't force it. Here's a great example of discipline. Jay Wild, who joins us every single day. Jay, you think you've been one of our longest term viewers here. I'm done for the day. I'm looking at the clock here. It's 10:30 in the morning Eastern time. Jay's done for the day, made no trades this morning. You know what that tells me? That tells me that Jay's disciplined. And that tells me that Jay's probably not going to put himself in position where he gets wiped out or really, really hurt when the market's not being cooperative. He can trade today, but he doesn't have to trade today. And he's exercising good discipline and doing that. We can all do that. It's one of the things Zunaid's doing. It's one of the things that I've done before. I'm currently in a situation where my sizes are reduced because I'm trying to take on less risk during this time. So it's okay.
Yeah, it's one of those days where I'm like, let's just go back to Sunday. Let's just go watch some football action.
Crazy NFL games. Tell you what, the NFL has been great.
Yeah, I'm just ready to go watch some football again. Sunday was enjoyable for me. This market is sometimes just not right now, guys. It's not fun. It's not fun to play inside the chop. All right, well, we'll see what else is going on out there right now. It just seems like we're just stair-stepping up. Right now, it's a stair-step up and continuing the upside action. You could get some reversals towards the end of the day, but for right now, you see that kind of stair-step up, and that's not a bad area. XOM trying to make another push. If we're looking at some oil names, Gush trying to get through the highs. We talked about that early on today. Could have been
WLDS.
To play.
WLDS. This was a shout from Becca earlier. Great eyes, Becca. We actually crossed through the VWAP, went up to this is a textbook, man. We crossed through the VWAP to the upside, went right to the 132 level, back tested the VWAP, and then broke through 132. And here we are pushing forward. Next spot here, 151. So I'm not in this. I did not take this trade. I was not watching it when the move set up here, but we got a textbook move based on what we had identified. We identified these levels from the pre-market, and look what's happening here. VWAP plus the levels we identified, WLDS pushing up 151 looks to be the next stop here. Great shout out, Becca, on this one. If anyone took this, I think your first profit target here is going to be 151. Maybe leave half on a pop through if we can test 168.
All right, let's see if we take a next step up. Chevron doing well, oil doing well today, guys, and it looks like it's a green day, and so far that's how it went, you know. My AMD trade would have been a really nice one today. It's up there to 66, right? I mean, I had not a bad idea there on AMD. just bad execution. That's how it can be in day trading. Even though you're trading towards maybe the correct side, even though then that doesn't mean that you're going to be into the green. Bad execution today on AMD. Stopped me out early. And now it's just kind of watch now because I wasn't able to play it on the second move. And it hasn't returned to VWAP, right? So we'll see what happens there. I don't like to buy into highs. And so this is definitely not the type of trading day for me. And in this case, just got to go ahead and call it quits for the day. And we'll be back tomorrow to try to make some profit.
And I was going to say, and don't worry, Mitch, we're going to be back and we're going to hang out with you for the rest of the half hour here and try and make some sense of what's going on here. Bashal wanted us to take a look at Ford Motor Company. Ford really does look like it's kind of at its bottom, a nice little support level. On the 15-minute chart here, you can see this 11.10, 11.12 area going all the way back to July. If we take a look at the daily here, it looks like we're trying to bounce here on Ford right off of this support. Now, this support goes all the way back to January of 2021 and actually even further back. I should probably really zoom out here. This is going all the way back to 2016, 2015. It's probably even further than that. So this 11 spot here, key spot here for Ford, looks like we are kind of pushing off of that spot here. Now, if you're just playing this for a dead cat bounce, your bounce play might be over, right? Because we went pretty much right down. We went almost to the penny on that 11.12. 11.13, your low here. We've traded as high as 11.59 on that bounce here. Ford does look like it's bouncing. Looks like it bounced off a nice support there.
Keep
all right,
tunes going.
Jesse said that he is pregnant. I'm not sure I follow, but then he's joking. Maybe it's COVID. Jesse, whatever test is going on with you, I hope that things are well. And if you or your wife is pregnant, I'm not even going to go down that road. Congratulations to your family.
Negative, right? Is that what you're seeing on the test? That's why you're calling it out? I know that a lot of people do that. The negative test, right? We'll see what happens there. AMD starting to top out there, and wouldn't you know it, probably the SPY starting a little bit of a slowdown here. I know that some people were calling 367s, some people were calling 370s. We'll see what happens today. Definitely not a bad day there, and surprising. I mean, we get news of potential financial instability, and look where Credit Suisse goes. It goes higher than it was on Friday. Who gets this market? I'll tell you one thing. It isn't going to be the books because
the contrarian traders seeming to do well here. By the way, real quick, during that quick discussion here, WLDS did do its pullback here. We pulled right back to that 132 spot. Currently have VWAP at 127. Let's see if this sets up again here today.
This market, guys, I called it in the kind of pre-market when I started seeing CS go. I was like, are we going to see it come right back to 365? No, instead it pushed further than that pre-market push through the 390s up towards the 4. That's why you're getting this run back, because the worries of Europe were like, nope, we'll just shake them off. Just throw it out. Kick it out the waters. It doesn't matter. Psst. Credit Suisse might go underwater. It doesn't matter.
That's that contrarian trade. Jay drew that out here for us. Jay was saying everyone on Friday was expecting a crash. We didn't get the crash. The market loves to inflict as much pain as possible.
That it does. That's why I always say that, logic isn't what the market trades on a bunch of the time. It's not logic. And when we try to be logical traders, that's when it can get to the point where you just feel like scratchy head, scratchy. Huh? What's going on? Huh? Okay, I guess. And that's how you got to do it sometimes. You can't fight the market and you can't fight the tape. Just like you can't fight the Fed, right? So we'll see what else is going on out there. Kalu's asking for a sector outlook. Let's go ahead and do one. Basic materials continuing to lead the day. Silver doing really well there. You guys can be looking at PAAS. This is one that I've been talking about for 2 to 3 days. And look what's made on 2 to 3 days. It's made a nice 15% move. A lot of this is the dollar index going down. An easy way that I've talked about that is just looking at UDN, right? This UDN has been slowly but surely just keep ticking on up. I've just seen the dollar fall, and with the dollar falling, silver being up. Copper not having a bad day there. FCX taking a nice little push on up. We'll see if this can actually be a bottom there for copper. Steel also kind of getting a little bit of a push here. Aluminum, a nice little push. Coal continuing on its recent push. And BTU now towards 26. This would have been beautiful to have at around the $22 price point. That's when I was looking at it. Now it's above the 50-day, going towards 26. Could get all the way back up there towards 28 as coal is making its way back. AMR is another one that we've talked about. Keep your eyes on that one. That one's made a great kind of 3 or 4 days. And we'll see if these coal players can continue pushing. CEIX, another one that we've talked about to keep your eyes on it. We'll see if this one can make its move to 72 or further. Lumber production continuing on its lift. WFG, EVA, take a look at those coming back today. We talked about some minerals. Those were doing well also. Then we look at communication services. Not stocks that I would trade often, but T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T getting a lift today. Not really stocks that I'd be going after, but hey, they are getting the lift. Energy behind that. We've talked about some oil names there. Utilities following that into 4th place and getting a little bit of a bounce back after a couple of weeks of sell-off. So not a bad move there. And Duke bouncing back today, but this has been selling off. So it's kind of more of the kind of the bearish oversold names getting a little bit of a bounce back today. What is in the red? Nothing's in the red from the open. Real estate is actually bouncing a little bit today. So if you're looking at real estate getting a little bit of a bounce like PLD, finding a little bounce off the 101s back towards the 105, creating a resistance. We'll see if it could actually get above that resistance. Technology is up about 1.4%. So not a bad day overall for stocks. There's a lot of industries into the green. We talked about solar, and would FSLR continue on the daily pattern, closing above 35 is what I would see here. We rejected from that 135. Now we'll see a pullback here. We'll see if it takes that next step up or does it start breaking down. SPY overall starting to turn around now as we're starting to get some topping out in the 364.50 area. And it's been a decent move overall since this morning. So you could see start seeing some pullback starting to happen. It's going to be hard to call kind of the tops, right? Or do you want to take shorts here? I think it's a hard one to call, and it's going to be up to you to determine if you feel that the market is going to come back down and take out those lows. All right, 2:39. We're going to get you guys over to some futures action. That's going to be coming up at 11 a.m. And then, of course, stock market movers after that. I do got to apologize because I got my dates wrong. It looks like the calendar was wrong there for Gordon Johnson. Gordon Johnson is actually going to be on tomorrow, not today. So apologize there. A little egg on my face there because I thought it was today. At least that's what our calendar had, but it was a mistake there. So just wanted to go ahead and give you guys that information that it's going to be tomorrow. If you guys want to see a bearish interview on Tesla with Gordon Johnson. Thought it would have been a good day, definitely, to kind of see Tesla as we're down big on Tesla today, but it'll be tomorrow, guys. Tesla rejecting that VWAP, now trying to go down here. We'll see if it gets hit. Apple's showing a little bit of topping in the 140, 102 area, and it's a tough market out there. So just be careful, team.
Have we looked at SoFi today? We haven't looked at it. It's near the highs here,
SoFi.
15-year high. It pulled a little bit out of the open and then moved up towards highs here. It seems to be trading the same way the banks are. The Goldman Sachs intraday chart looks the same. Let's take a look at JPM's chart. Looks the same. Wells Fargo looks the same. Bank
Wells
of America.
Fargo actually got a upgrade today. It was kind of interesting. Goldman Sachs gave him an upgrade, and then they gave a downgrade to Citi. But I think they're just playing a little bit of the pair straight out there.
All those bank charts look the same. SoFi fits into that.
Yeah, it does. And SoFi is just one of those. It's not going to come back until the growth stocks come back. That's what I would say about SoFi. You need the growth trade to come back. Growth trade doesn't come back, it's going to be tough. Mitch McMuffin with egg whites.
Mitch McMuffin, interesting.
Throw a little cheddar on that.
I had a egg McMuffin sandwich over the weekend. It wasn't McDonald's. It was egg on an English muffin with sausage and cheddar cheese. And I got it.
Can't go wrong.
Got it from my grocery store. Went there in the morning. They have a breakfast stand. It was really good.
Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. And in this market, anything not expensive, we'll take it.
You got that right.
All right, SPY did turn around there a little bit. Now starting to pull back towards the 363 area. We'll see if it can hold 364. And so we started to see some of these stocks really start turning around. Tesla, we'll look to see if it rejects right back down. That's setting up for a VWAP fade trade right back down. We'll see if it does actually start breaking down there. That bear flag there. What's going to go on? You going to be bear today, Tesla? Apple showing a little bit of topping. Amazon was pushing. Google's pushing there. If Tesla could get back into the green, I think this market could stay up.
Tesla looks like it's just trading sideways right now. It does not have the mo some of these other stocks do. I think that deliveries headline weighing on them pretty good.
Hey, wish you the best, Chris. If you were able to nail that success trade, power to you, man. I'm just not feeling it today. I would probably maybe take it with you, but just not feeling it. And when you're not feeling it, there's no point in pushing it. Maybe just call it a day quick is way better than
protect your capital. Always protect your capital.
Especially if you trade it often and you get these days where you're just not feeling like I'm sharp today. I'm not in the zone. That's how I feel today. Even though I know the news, I covered everything on pre-market prep. I didn't feel like leaning one way today. If I felt leaning, it would just be off the daily outlook, and that's what we saw, right? A spike, right? A bounce back, bear market rally. Then the question is, how long will this last? That's when it starts being the hard question to take.
SPY looks like it's trying to set up for maybe another up move here. We'll see if that materializes. Need a little bit more to take a look at that, or need a little bit more to determine that. Excuse me.
Yeah, good one to watch today to give you that is Nvda, right? Does it start pushing back towards the 126? You're getting a very similar chart on Nvda that you have on the SPY, that sideways action, right? Now you get that spike in Nvda. Look for the spike to show up in the SPY. Little spike there showing on up. Now let's see what happens here. To take the next leg, Nvda, that could be a good sign to see the market continue here to the left-hand side. Also would be a bearish sign for that success, maybe a bullish sign for SOXL. We'll see what happens here.
Dave, you got a question. Okay, was that your question? Because if your question was, hey, I have a question, then okay.
I got a question for the question.
I have a question too. What is your question? Mitch and I have both.
That was priceless right there.
I don't know if it was priceless, but I appreciate the looking out, Mitch. I appreciate it.
Trying to turn it up or something.
SPY moving back towards the highs here.
Back to the old school lo-fi. Zunaid's not here today, so I'm allowed to do it.
I think you're allowed to do it even if he's here.
It's just too, sometimes with Zunaid talking all fast over this slow stuff,
Yeah, he's used to doing backup singing for Adele, I think. Anyway,
Yeah.
FNGR here hanging out right below its VWAP, VWAP 493. If FNGR can cross through its VWAP, maybe you get a trade there. I'm telling you, that's definitely one to watch this afternoon. Not long it, don't hold it, but watch it because it might set up for a trade. WLDS back below that 132. We'll see if it can retake that.
Let's see. What did we learn this weekend that we could bring up? All right, let's bring something interesting. This stuff is hard, guys. The concepts on cycle theory, this stuff gets me scratching my head. I was reading this stuff this weekend. It's tough. Cycle theory, it's hard to understand.
That you sound like you had a much tougher weekend than I did. I golfed and played football, so I didn't read any of that stuff. So good luck to you, Mitch. I will say though, here's Dave's question. This is a good one, and I can really quickly cover this here. Dave is asking, why do I hear that SOXL and SOXS are similar and aren't recommended to hold overnight or for a long-term hold? All right, so there's two parts to your question. I'm going to take the first part first here. Why do I hear that SOXL and SOXS are similar? Well, they're similar because they're inverse, right? These are ETFs that mimic the market movement, except XL and XS are the inverse of one another. So if we take a look here at, I'll go ahead and bring up my screen here. If we take a look here at SOXS, this is the direction daily semiconductor bear 3x shares. So this is levered. That means you get 3x movement as opposed to the, so this is for semiconductors. So you get 3x movement because this one is levered. Now, SOXL is the inverse of that. It is the 3x bull, so it's levered to the opposite side. So the reason these are similar is because they track the same thing, except they move in different directions based on the direction of the underlying asset. And they're levered. So the second part of your question here are, why aren't they recommended to hold overnight for a long-term hold? Well, the easiest way to take a look at that is to take a look at the daily or the weekly chart. You can see that these things are always decaying, right? So in the case of SOXL here, it did go up for a little bit here, but completely broke down. If we take a look at SOXS, as the same thing. So we've recently spiked up, but otherwise this chart is constantly decaying. And the thing is when you buy these levered products, you'll often get outsized movements on them. So the object of trading these things is to time the move so that you're collecting your 3x leverage when it's moving in the direction that you hope it moves. So I hope that answers your question. I hope that was easy for you to understand, but there you go.
Yeah, and one more point to that, of course, I think Ryan's mentioning it to a point, is with those leveraged ETFs, right? You run into something that some people call the constant liquidity trap or the constant adjustment. So understand that when you're using those leverage, right? And so they're doing something, right? They're creating a financial instrument here, right? And so one thing to keep in mind, and we pay attention to this for ETFs, right, is the rebalancing, right? And so these companies, these leverage vehicles, they have to rebalance every day to remain in that constant leverage. So if you're holding for more than one day, you're running into rebalancing, which is constantly going to be bringing these leverage vehicles back down. And so it's going to be pulling them against your position. That's why we don't say to hold them overnight. Doesn't mean that you can't make it a trade and make some gains, because maybe the leverage is just continuing to go in one direction. That could be there, but there's a risk to play when you're holding it overnight, is that when you're running into that constant leverage where you have to rebalance every single day, it could definitely change the exposure that you're actually looking at. You don't want to be fighting the financial instrument itself. And that's why people try to sell these on the daily. And of course, maybe look to buy them on the dip the following day.
And so Jay Rice throwing in a really good point here. It's foolish to think you can only day trade them. You can swing them. What you don't want to do is hold them for months because of erosion. So Jay, you're right about that. I will often say don't hold these overnight because the market has been so choppy that we get back and forth movements. But you're absolutely right. If you can hold them, you can swing them. So you can hold them overnight for a shorter period of term. But again, with the leveraged ones, you really want to make sure that you're betting the right move, right? If it's up one day and you buy it and then it's down the next day and then it's up and it's back and forth, it almost doesn't even make sense to hold it overnight. You get several days in a row of consistent movement, you can absolutely swing them. Again, when we're talking about ETFs that are levered or any type of product like that, we always want to exercise caution. In a market like this, it's been very difficult to hold those overnight, but you're absolutely right. You can swing those.
Just be careful with that, because you're fighting. It has to be something that you feel is just going to keep trending. Like if we're just in a huge downturn in the market, okay, I can kind of agree with you swinging into the next day. But if you're in a sideways trend on the SPY and you're overnighting leverage ETFs, in my opinion, what I've studied in financial kind of education, you're doing it wrong. But that's up to you. Just depends always on the market environment you're in. That's one of the biggest questions that you can ask on your trade. So the SPY's just been now just slowed down. Tesla heading back down. That doesn't show some strength. Nvda completely flipped. If anything, I think the stock sets trade is starting to make sense now. But not going to go ahead and get in it now. Just look at that. I can't even put it in today, let alone take the trade. But yeah, now you're starting to see kind of more of that bottoming effect there. You're starting to see some topping effect, and Nvidia turning around there. Apple turning around. Yeah, starting to show some more tops. So now draw kind of like a trend line upwards and see when Apple really wants to crack. That's a move back down below kind of the 140.80s, going back to the VWAP.
So Beach Bum is saying, yes, the key is swinging them into a trend, And Dave says, yes, I'd like to swing them. So as long as I'm convinced we're in a shorter time frame uptrend, would it be a good hold for a shorter time frame? So let me show you an example of this. Exactly. So let's use SOXL as the example. So from, let's call it the beginning of this year, January 3rd to today, we're clearly in a downtrend on SOXL. I have a weekly chart pulled up here, right? We're clearly in a downtrend. However, as I believe it was Jay Rice was saying earlier, there was a period in the summer where you could have doubled your money. So look, we have the bottom here of this move here is 1077, and the top of this move, right? This is a move up against the trend, topped out at 2222. So Jay's exactly right. You could have doubled your money in here if you were able to hit the bottom. Now, the question is, how good are you at hitting bottoms? How good are you at predicting this trend? How, do you have a stop in place in case this trend doesn't continue? I've gone ahead and found an exact example of where you could have held this and you could have doubled your money. However, it doesn't always work like this. And if we take a look at this run up here versus the trend, the overall trend that we had this year, clearly this move here is in the minority. Take care of yourself, Easy Mikes. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate the contributions. If we take a look at this on the daily, it might be even harder, right? So here's that move that we just talked about in the summer. Okay, right in here. But there were a couple of days where this went back on you and the pullbacks were kind of nasty. So it's not, when you look at charts in the past, it might seem easy because of hindsight, but when you're actually in the moment, it's not that easy. And then also to Jay's other point, let me see. Here, Jay Rice said, over the long term, these products suck. UVXY is a perfect example. Could not agree with that more. I have to get the ticker right here. UVXY. You take a look at this over the long term. I mean, this is not a chart that I want to hold for long term. It just isn't. I mean, it's constantly decaying. So there are right moments and there are wrong moments, and it's going to be up to you to determine those moments.
All right, we'll see what happens there. I see someone wants to talk about some solar stocks. We've talked about them before. EMPH kind of holding on up. You got First Solar, which is an important one. If this can hold the pattern, I think you'll still see solar stocks making the push. If this breaks the pattern, that's when you got to be careful about some solar stocks. First Solar has turned into a favorite in the solar industry just because of the climate bill and that their revenue is mainly right here in the U.S.
All right, Mitch, I'm going to get rolling here. We're a little slow in the market. I've got some stuff to do here today, but we will be back tomorrow.
That we will. And like always, guys, stick around. We got futures trading that'll be coming up in about 4 minutes.
Aaron Bree will be taking that with Zunaid out, by the way.
Yeah. Have a good one, Ryan. Take care, my friend, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right, I'm going to still be here for you guys as we get closer towards 11. Let me know if you guys have anything to check on out before we get on out of here today. And we're going to continue battling in the markets like always. You never know where you're going to go, but like always, we'll see what happens. I thought today was an interesting outlook there on that first solar for a swing trade, but like always, right now, I'm not taking many swing trades. I just can't trust the markets right now, so it's difficult. Penn was one that I wanted to keep watching to see if it could close above the 28s. We're starting to try to close above the 28. The question, will it be able to hold towards the end of the day? SPY really showing some topping action right now. We'll see what happens there. Apple, will that start to crack there? Will the SARK trade kind of come back on up through the VWAP? That actually looks interesting to me. I'd actually try to hold off the 62. You see, I want to take another trade now. This is how it is when you trade for too long and you stay in the markets. This would be probably my trade if I wanted to take it one more time. If I was taking a trade, it'd probably be this right here. 61.96 risk, 62.15 maybe entry right now. Trying to make a move back on up. That's where it would be, where I would try to grab it. Look for a move back towards 62.75. We'll see what's going on in the markets today. That SARK look interesting to me. But I'm going to respect myself and get out of here. I got a lot to do today. A lot more coming up on Benzinga to get towards. So we'll see what happens there. Will the SPY actually turn around up here, or will it kind of continue stair-stepping up? That's what it's been doing today. It could just very well continue it. And for that SARK trade, we'll see if it gets back on up there. Of course, you could also look at ARK for the downside action move. Right now, you got some topping here. Will this come crashing right back down there? That's another way to play this, is kind of a short on SARK, looking for the move back towards 37. We'll see what happens there. Is FSLR tanking or what? No, it's not tanking right now, at least from what I see. But hey, to each his own. Definitely smash the thumbs on up. If you guys have anything, definitely tell me what you want to look at. What do you think about fading FSLR? Well, if I'm fading FSLR, I would need it to kind of crack through the daily. So I would be trying to short somewhere up here in the 135s, 136, maybe risking up towards the 138 and looking for the breakdown of 130. Now, of course, you can either wait until it gets towards that 130 and then try to break it down towards the 127. That could be another outlook. But to me, I would be looking at maybe trying to shorten to the resistance. But remember, you're shorting a bullish chart. And so that's a little bit difficult. Whenever you're shorting a bullish chart, remember, what does the market outlook look for me in this stock? Well, it's in a bullish trend. It needs a change trend for me to even get into the profits. So that's probably what I would want to see first. If I'm taking my shot, I needed to try changing trend. And the same thing I would say for the SPY today. It's been choppy, but we need to actually see a change the trend back down. If not, you could get caught. All right, about 1 minute. I'm going to get you guys on over. Let's go ahead and wrap on up. Get you guys on over to some futures action. Aaron Bree will be joining Aaron Bryan. You see what happens, Aaron? You see what happens when you're in the chat? Aaron Bryan, you coming on, man? No, AB will be leading the futures show. So if you guys want to go ahead and check out some futures action, that's going to be coming up next. It would be an interesting way to maybe learn a little bit about hedging, or maybe you just want to be able to be in the markets 24/7. That's definitely something that you want to check on out. Check out the futures action coming up next with AB. And not this AB. You're catching me there, Aaron Bryan in the chat. The other AB. All right, I'll see you guys a little bit later on Stock Market Movers.